All right, guys. This was the first problems. Let's see. I'm gonna get their calculator out. Okay, round your answer to the nearest hundredth. Okay, here's how using their calculator is really easy. Round your answer to the nearest hundredth. I know this is pi times the radius is 2 pi r squared times height times 8. There we go. So the answer is 100.53. I look at the 0. It doesn't round me up, so 100.53 is the answer. Next one, calculator. Same thing, this is just pi times the radius, which is 4, squared times 10. There's my answer, 502.65. I need to round to the nearest hundredth, so 502.65. The 4 doesn't round me up, so there we go, 502.65. The next one, on their calculator, I know I'm gonna need a top and a bottom of my because for cones, we divide by 3. So I'm gonna click the bottom and divide by 3. On the top, I need a pirate square that I give some height to. So there's the pi times the radius is 6 squared. There's my pirate squared times height times 8 and divide by 3. There's my answer, 301.59. All right, same thing with this one. I'm gonna use their calculator. I'm gonna say it's pi times the radius is 7 squared times 12. And we got 1,847.25, but the 6 rounds me up to 0.26, so 1,847.26. Next problem. All right, this one, calculator. Let's see, 5 is not the radius, so I'm gonna divide 5 by 2, and the radius is 2.5. So for this one, I'm gonna go to the next line. I'm gonna say this is pi times the radius is 2.5. I'm gonna square that, times 9. And there's my 176.71. The 4 doesn't round me up. Round to the nearest hundredth. There we go, 176.71. Number 6, for these ones, I'm gonna need a top and a bottom, so I'm gonna hit that A, B button. I know the top, I'm gonna need a pi times the radius is 3 squared, pi r squared times the height. And on the bottom, I'm gonna need that 3. There we go, 47.12. Number 7, let's see, I'm gonna use our calculator. I know I'm gonna need a top and a bottom, so there we go. I'm gonna need, what am I gonna need? I'm gonna need pi times the radius is 2 squared, pi r squared, times height, divided by 3. There's my answer, 33.51. Number 8. Okay, number 8. I'm gonna do number 8 like this. Okay, let's see, number 8. Number 8, I'm gonna so this one's weird because they tell me the answer is 290. So the answer is 290, and that's gonna equal pi times the radius squared times height. So 290 equals pi. The radius is not 6.5, that's all the way across. The radius is 6.5 divided by 2, which is 3.25. So 3.25 squared times, I don't know what the height is, so I'm not gonna do it yet. But over here on this calculator, let's see, where did that go? Over here. Over here on this calculator, I'm gonna do all the math that I can. I'm gonna do pi times 3.25 squared. So far I have 290 equals, if I do the math for that, that is 33.18 times the height. Well, 33.18 times the height is 290. So I got to figure out what the height is. So I'm going to divide by, I'm going to top versus bottom the 33.18. 33.18, that cancels this out. And the height must be whatever, 290 divided by 33.18 is. And it looks like it's about 8 point, this says round to the nearest hundredth, 8.74. All right, number 9. All right, so this one says how many times bigger is I'm gonna do this just one on the calculator. All right, how many times bigger is the large one than the small one? So how many times does the small container fit into the large container? I'm just gonna do a division problem. I'm gonna divide the large container divided by the small container. So I'm gonna start here, and on the top of my equation, I'm gonna put the formula for the large container. For the large containers, let's see. So this would be pi times the radius of the large container is not 6. The radius has a diameter, so its radius is 3. So pi r squared times 8. That's the large container divided by the small container. The small container is pi r squared. Let's see, the radius is not 5, the diameter is 5, so the radius is 2.5 squared times 4.6. So on the top, you have the equation for the big one. On the bottom, you have the equation for the small one. And if you divide them, that means the big one is 2.50 or 2.5 times bigger than the small one. All right, next problem. And the last one. Okay, so I'll do this over here. I'll do this one over here. Okay, 2.8 is how much these are, 2.8 across. So that means halfway across is 1.4. And up is 2.8, and up right here is 2.8, and up right there is 2.8. So if I do 2.8 times 3, that equals 8.4. That's how tall this whole thing is. So if I want to know how big the container is, I'm going to say volume equals pi r squared times height. Volume equals pi times the radius is 1.4 squared times 8.4. I'll go back to the good calculator they have. And I'm going to go pi times 1.4 squared times 8.4. So the volume is 51.72. That's how much the tennis ball container holds. Okay, if I'm going to, how much empty space is there? I got to subtract 3 tennis balls. How much is a tennis ball? Well, a tennis ball is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. So it's 4/3 times pi times 1.4 to the 3rd power. So let's subtract. So I'm going to hit enter. So 4/3 times pi times the radius, which is 1.4 to the 3rd power. So I'm going to hit that button and say I want the 3rd power. There we go, minus 11.49. But I also need 3 tennis balls. So I'm going to multiply this. I'm going to time this by 3. That's how much 3 tennis balls takes up. So 51.72 minus 34.48. 51.723 minus 34.482 equals 17.24. Equals 17.24 empty space. All right, there you go.